What do you think it'd be like to fly?
When I have a worry-filled mind, I like to wander outside. No telling what we might find. Birds calling, worms crawling, leaves falling down from above. Oh, I plant my feet on the ground. I keep my head in the clouds. I let my feelings out loud. I hear joy calling, fear crawling, tears falling down out of love.
Welcome, friends. I'm so glad you're here. My name is Mrs. A, and I'm really excited to be spending some time with you today. We're going to start by checking in with our feelings. We experience so many different feelings or emotions as humans. Sometimes our feelings change from minute to minute. Sometimes we may have an entire day where we're feeling a certain feeling or emotion. And none of those feelings are good or bad. They just are, kind of like the weather. And to help us practice identifying our feelings, I'm going to share a poster with you that I've made. You can get a copy of this poster for yourself if you are a patron and you support me on Patreon. Otherwise, you can just take a peek at it here. I'll zoom in. Each of these different characters are showing a different feeling or emotion. And although this poster doesn't name all of the feelings that you might experience, it names many of them and has a good mix. So I'd like you to take a moment to listen to your body and practice identifying the feeling that you're feeling right now. I'll do that too. Did you find your feeling? I am feeling curious. Curious about what feeling you're experiencing, and curious if you know any of the people we're going to talk about today, and curious if you have ever thought about what it's like to fly. I have a lot of curiosities or questions floating through my mind, much like the picture of that character with all the question marks around their head. So, can you solve one of my curiosities? How are you feeling right now? Will you say your feeling out loud? Thank you so much for telling me that. And not only am I glad that you shared it, but it's really helpful for yourself to name your feeling and say it out loud. It's also really helpful for the people around you. It's a great way to communicate how you're feeling, maybe what type of mood you're in, maybe what you might need. And so, anytime we practice sharing our feelings, even if it might feel uncomfortable or strange, it's really good practice and helps you get better at it each time. So, thanks for giving it a try today. The next thing I'd like us to do is to move our bodies, build our muscles, maybe clear our heads, and help refocus or just settle our brains and bodies. And so, we're going to use the date to help us do that. The date for you may be different than the date for me. That's okay. You can always change the numbers as we go. For me, the date is 3/28/22. And so we're going to do 3 of one move, 28 of another, and then 22 of a different move. And Fig is here to help us with one of the moves we'll do. Now, Fig doesn't tell us just yet, but they do show us using their body. Can you make some observations and notice how their body is shaped? Maybe take a guess or two. What do you think they're doing? We'll check back in with them soon. But to start, we are going to do 3 spins. And I love doing spins, but I know that sometimes it can make us very dizzy. And so if spins are not your favorite thing, you can just spin your finger or maybe pretend to spin the top half of your body. If you would like to do some spins together, let's stand up and do 3 spins. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Awesome job. Now we have 28 moves to do, and I thought we could do hops. Not really super big jumps, but small hops, maybe like bunny hops. So if you're able, let's stand and do 28 hops, but this time we'll count by twos since 28 is an even number. Ready? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28. Oh, wonderful work. Now Fig has our final move. Fig, what should we do 22 of? Oh, soaring moves. Just because we were talking about flying. Thanks, Fig. So you can do this sitting or standing. All you need to do is put your arms out. Pretend you're a bird or an airplane or some other spacecraft and fly and soar back and forth. We'll do this 22 times. And just like our number 28, 22 is also even. We can share it equally. So we'll count by twos as we go. Ready? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22. All right, pilots, will you land your flying machines? Let's take 3 cool down breaths to rest our bodies, lower our heart rate, and settle back in. When you hear a bell, you can fill your belly big with air and slowly let it out. Amazing. Thanks for moving your body with me today. I'm so glad we got to do some flying exercises because I'm wondering, have you ever thought about what it might feel like to fly? Me too. Maybe you've thought of what it's like to fly like a bird and flap your wings. Maybe you thought what it must feel like to fly in an airplane. Yeah, I think flying sounds really cool. And so we are going to talk today about flying and about some really amazing women who have flown in their lifetime. Let's look at our message to find out more. You may know already, but in my messages I hide onomatopoeias and alliterations. Onomatopoeias are sound words like crash and bang, and alliterations are words that are next to each other or really close by that start with the same letter or sound. So see if you can spot any today. Hello, excited explorers. Today, we're going to read about a few courageous pilots and an astronaut who worked to be the first of their kind in aviation and space travel. Do you know what the word aviation means? It means to operate or fly an aircraft. Flying planes and spaceships takes lots of practice and patience and bravery. Have you ever been on an airplane? Zoom! Have you ever known a pilot? I'm excited to share some special women with you today. Love, Mrs. A. So today we're going to talk about some pilots and an astronaut who have flown in the sky or in outer space. And I'm really excited to share some books with you that tell us more about them. So without delay, let's start right here with our astronaut. This book, Mae Among the Stars, is all about Mae Jemison, the first Black woman in space. And this is written by Rhonda Ahmed with illustrations by Stasia Burrington. And I'm excited to share a little tiny bit about Mae's story with you. Mae Among the Stars. What I love about this book is that it really walks us through Mae's life as a child and gives us a glimpse into how it all started for her. So we'll start here. In the classroom, Miss Bell told everyone to stand in line on the rug. Today, we're all going to share our dreams about the future. What do you want to be, and what do you want to do when you grow up? Who wants to go first? I want to be a firefighter. I want to be a teacher. Football player. I want to be a mom. I want to go to space. I want to be an astronaut. Has anybody ever asked you what you want to do when you grow up? Yeah, for some reason, it is a very common question for grown-ups to ask kids. I'm more curious about how you want to help the world as you are growing up and once you grow up. But when Mae was young, her teacher asked her what she wants to be, and she said she wants to go into space. She wants to be an astronaut. All the kids started laughing. What? Miss Bell asked. Mae, are you sure you don't want to be a nurse? Nursing would be a good profession for someone like you. Did Mae say that she wants to be a nurse? No, she said she wanted to be an astronaut. So I'm confused. I'm confused why her friends and classmates are laughing, and I'm confused why her teacher thinks that being a nurse would be a better fit. Do you have any ideas? Yeah, we've been talking a little bit this month during Women's History Month, how some people thought that women and girls couldn't do certain jobs or do certain things with their life. And it looks like this teacher had a similar view. She thought that because Mae was a young black girl, that she should just grow up to be a nurse and not chase her dreams of flying in space. I don't want to be a nurse, Mae said. I want to be an astronaut. And not only did Mae stand up for what she believed and what she wanted to do, but Mae chased her dream. And as we see on the cover, Mae did fly among the stars and become the first black female astronaut in space. And so I really love this beautiful picture book that tells us more about Mae's life and her work to chase her dream of becoming an astronaut. Be sure to check it out. Now, this next book is new to me. I hadn't read it or seen it before I was preparing this lesson for you, but it is really, really great. It's called The Little Guide to Great Lives, and this is all about Amelia Earhart. And she was a female pilot, and she was really a pioneer in aviation. That means she was one of the first women to do some pretty incredible things while flying a plane. And I really love this book because the illustrations are really engaging and interesting, but there's also a ton of facts and information throughout the book. There are quotes from Amelia Earhart, and there are so many bits and pieces of her life and what she did that I learned a lot while reading it. So I'm going to share a few pages with you, but I definitely recommend you grab this. And as a reminder, just below that red subscribe button, there is a link to my bookshop affiliate link. And you can always click that for the books that I share if you'd like to order them for yourself from your own local bookstore, even by using my link. So be sure to check it out. As I said, Little Guides to Great Lives, all about Amelia Earhart. And this was written by Isabel Thomas, with illustrations by Dahlia Dillon. We'll start here. Amelia's story begins in a small town in Kansas, USA. When Amelia was little, her family was very close. Amy, her mother, was always reading exciting stories to the girls. Edwin, her father, took them fishing and played ball games with them. They loved to explore and have adventures outdoors. When Amelia was 7, she designed and built a roller coaster in her garden. And I love this little peek into Amelia's childhood. When she was 7, she was designing and building roller coasters and fun machines. Have you ever designed or built anything? I bet. So, what did Amelia like? Things I like. Reading about insects, horseback riding, inventing things, exciting adventures, basketball, math, and celery. Things I hate. The way people expect boys to be better at stuff. I have jumped over a fence that no boy my age has dared to jump. Wearing dresses and candy. In the early 1900s, boys were expected to be adventurous and choose an exciting career. Girls were expected to learn sewing, music, and good manners, then get married and look after children. Amelia decided that just was not for her. Now, there are so many different things that we can do with our lives, whether we're boys or girls or anything in between. But being told that you couldn't do something made Amelia think, yes, I can. Look, I'm already doing things that boys don't know how to do or aren't able to do already. And so she collected articles about women who were choosing a different path. She was inspired to follow her own dream, even if it wasn't typically what girls did. In Toronto, Amelia visited an airfield with her sister. A stunt pilot dived toward the girls for a joke, but Amelia was not scared. She was hooked. And here's a quote from her. "I did not understand it at the time, but I believe that the little airplane said something to me as it swished by." When the war finished, Amelia still wasn't sure what to do with her life. She began training as a doctor, but left to join her parents in California. She visited local air shows, and in 1920, she paid $10 to go up in a plane herself. The flight over Los Angeles was the most exciting 10 minutes she'd ever had. Amelia knew she had to become a pilot herself. And so just from that one experience of paying to fly in a plane, which was a real big privilege because $10 was quite a lot in 1920, she knew she was hooked and she wanted to be a pilot. Amelia did marry George Putnam, but she didn't settle down. Their plans became even more ambitious. That means they dreamed big. A few days after the air derby, Amelia called a meeting for women pilots. They decided to start the first organization for women aviators. They had 99 applications to join, so they called themselves the 99s. Amelia also wanted to become the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean. The rest of the world thought she was bonkers. 7 women had died trying to do the same thing. But Amelia wanted to prove to herself and the world that she wasn't just a passenger. On May 20th, 1932, she took off into the sunset. Okay, so long. Good luck. So even though many women had died trying to do this before Amelia, she thought, I want to give it a shot. I want to prove that I can. She was very brave. Amelia did indeed become the second person to fly across the Atlantic Ocean alone, the first woman. She set a new record for the fastest crossing, and she made the longest nonstop flight by a woman. There was no time to rest. Amelia visited Paris, London, and Rome, collecting honors and awards. Amelia accepted her awards on behalf of all women flyers and non-flyers, and in her interviews, speeches, and lectures, she reminded people that women were equal to men. She was now the most famous American woman after the First Lady, Eleanor Roosevelt, and the two became good friends. Amelia launched a fashion line and began working for Purdue University, encouraging women to become engineers, scientists, doctors, and business leaders. She wanted all women to dream big. And I love that Amelia recognized all of the women in the world and wanted to speak on behalf of them and encourage them to do what they wanted to do and follow their dreams. And this whole book, like I said, is filled with information about Amelia Earhart and the rest of her life. So please grab a copy for yourself from your library or bookstore. Little Guide to Great Lives, Amelia Earhart. And finally, a book that I just love reading because it has so much great information and it's written in such a fun and playful way. It is called Flying Free, and it's how Bessie Coleman's dreams took flight. And this book is about the first Black woman who became a pilot. And it's really interesting how she had to do it and her story, so I'm excited to share it with you. This book was written by Karen Parsons, illustrated by R. Gregory Christie. Bessie Coleman was born a spirited little girl whose sense of adventure would light the whole world. In the morning she'd rise and breathe the fresh air, marvel at the small flocks of birds flying there. Do you see the small flocks of birds that she's noticing? Bessie wondered what it would be like to fly. To fly, said Bessie. I'd love to, I would. Ha, laughed her brother. There's no way you could. You live in America, are black and female. You'd have a better chance if you had a tail. Bessie said, oh yeah? Well, you just wait and see. There'll be a black female pilot, and it will be me. So even though her own brother didn't believe that she could do it, she said, watch me. I'm going to be the first black female pilot. They all told her, no, we won't teach you to fly. You're a girl, the wrong color. But she still had to try. Then a friend told her, I think you'd have a chance if you don't stay here, but instead move to France. I'll pay for your trip. Yes, give it a go. When you come home a pilot, the whole country will know. So if you can believe it, in the United States, there were so many racist and prejudiced people that because Bessie Coleman was a woman and a black woman, they wouldn't even let her train or practice flying. Thankfully, her friend said, I will help you go to France, a whole other country, because there you'll be able to learn how to fly. And then when you come back to the United States, people will notice and recognize that you are a talented pilot. I'm so glad that Bessie didn't give up on her dreams. And if you grab this book, you'll get to see all of the amazing adventures and hard work that she had to put in to become the first black female pilot. Flying Free, How Bessie Coleman's Dreams Took Flight. Now, for our mindful moment today, I was thinking about all of these wonderful women flying through the sky and some into space. And I was thinking about how beautiful it must be up there. The way the light goes through the clouds, the way you almost are above all the weather. And I thought, I wonder if there were rainbows in any of their adventures. And so I thought we could do a breathing exercise where we make some rainbows. It's really simple. All you have to do is sit up straight, and you can close your eyes or lower your head. And as we breathe in, we'll bring our arms up into a big rainbow arch. And then as we breathe out, we'll slowly let it down to spread all the colors around. Let's do this for 5 breaths. Ready to make some rainbows? Two more breaths. All right, rainbow makers, how are you feeling? What did you notice as you were taking that mindful moment and practicing some deep breathing? You felt calm. Did you imagine those beautiful rainbows? Me too. Oh, comfortable, peaceful, excited. Amazing. Well, friends, thank you for taking that mindful moment with me. As a reminder, each time I share a lesson or a video, I include a different type of mindfulness activity that you can do anytime. Anytime you feel like you're stuck in a zone that isn't comfortable or suiting you right now. Anytime you feel a little crowded in your head or overwhelmed and like to refocus or clear your mind. So be sure to check out those other episodes if you haven't yet. And while you're there, be sure to hit that red subscribe button so you can get a little reminder anytime I share something new. I hope you make it a great rest of the day. I want to send you off with some love if you'd like it, a hug if you want it, and I can't wait to see you next time.